What's going on, you guys? So, Terence Crawford becomes three-time undisputed champion, moving up two, you could argue, three weight classes to beat Canelo Alvarez for the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world. Now, if you follow my channel, you've already known I've been picking Crawford to win this fight. I was right. The only thing I was off on was we didn't get the stoppage tonight, like I had predicted. But what I did say, if he didn't get the stoppage, it was going to be a dominant performance, and that's exactly what it was. You could argue that this fight was anywhere from 10-3 or 10-2 to Crawford winning every single round. He looked great. Like I said, they're probably the same exact size. Honestly, I was expecting Crawford to probably be a little bit bigger, but everything else, I was right. The weight didn't play a factor. Canelo's punching power didn't play a factor in this fight. Like I had mentioned also, Terence Crawford, his footwork, educated feet, his lead hand, we're going to win him this fight. And that's exactly what we saw. Throughout the fight, I mean, it started a little slow, but anytime that Canelo had a little bit of success, landed an occasional shot here and there, Crawford would respond, landing his own shots. And there was multiple times in the fight where he was just boxing really well, used his feet, very, smart. He wasn't just sitting on the ropes, waiting to, get hit in the arms, get hit with the overhand right or a right hand to the body. The occasional shot that Canelo likes to throw is that lead left hand to the body, and even that didn't really land. This was a complete dominant performance, dude. But I'm not really too surprised at all. I had predicted this. I knew this was going to happen. Throughout the buildup of this fight, we heard so many different things. People were questioning whether or not Crawford was going to be able to handle the punching power of Canelo Alvarez. People were saying that this weight jump was going to be too much and he was going to gas out. We didn't see that at all. He looked strong all 12 rounds. You can even argue, like I said, that Terence Crawford was the bigger puncher in this fight. There was times where his shots were moving Canelo back, at times where he had Canelo on the back foot. He did look just overall like the better fighter in every single category of the fight. He won. When they were on the inside, exchanging, Crawford won every single exchange. Just boxing, Crawford won at that. He was the better boxer. He was the better fighter overall in every single category that you could break down this fight. Controlled the pace of the fight, controlled the distance really well. Just a complete dominant performance. I don't really know what else to say, and that's exactly what you need in order to, win a close decision against Canelo Alvarez. If you really look back at every one of his fights that he's really lost, right? We know for a fact he lost the Bill fight. Like, that wasn't even close. We know for a fact he lost the Mayweather fight. Like, that wasn't even close. But for some reason, Canelo always loses a close decision. If he loses by a wide margin, but on the scorecards, it's close. For tonight, it was 115, 113 on two of the cards. I believe it was, I can't remember what the other card was. I want to say it was like 116, 112, maybe 117, 111. But nonetheless, dude, that's what you got to do in order to win that fight against Canelo Alvarez. You actually have to win every single round. At a moment in the fight, though, in round 9, Crawford came out landing a flurry of punches, hard shots, and looked like he had a lot of momentum going, and then the cut happened, right? And I think that stopped a little bit of the momentum. Regardless, he won every single round after that, but I was really thinking from the way that round was starting that we were possibly going to see Canelo get out of there. But I think Crawford, didn't want to get in too many exchanges with Canelo with a cut eye. He didn't want that affecting him. Didn't necessarily take a whole lot of risk after that, but he did stand his ground. He got his respect in terms of, Canelo respecting the punching power. There was times, like I said, that Canelo was moving back. We didn't see him come forward the whole entire fight. And when he did, it wasn't effective pressure at all. But yeah, man, I'm expecting a lot of people to honestly not really come the Canelo fanboys. I'm not expecting them to come on the my YouTube channel and comment anything, you know. I'm sure they're all pretty sad right now because I called it. Obviously, Canelo's got a huge fan base. They're going to ride with their fighter, but he got completely dominated tonight by a dude who was almost 40 years old and really was coming up 2 weight classes. You could argue 3 because he only fought 1 time at 154, but I think this puts Terence Crawford definitely in the GOAT conversation. You're talking about a guy that started off at 135 pounds and has been the best guy in every single weight class he's ever been, from 135, 140, 147, 154, and then 168. He's a 5-division champion, 3-time undisputed. I don't think that's something we're ever going to see again. That's some Henry Armstrong type stuff. Holding 3 belts, you know, 3 undisputed titles in 3 different weight classes. I don't think we're going to see that ever again. So I think, you know, also to add on top of it, I think Crawford was actually hurting Canelo in this fight. He won the fight very convincingly, like I said. But when you match it up with the guys that have beat Canelo, you look at Bivol, I think he looked better than Bivol did. When you look at Floyd Mayweather's performance, both of those performances by Bivol and Mayweather were great performances. But I don't think it really measures up to what Terence Crawford just did. So in my opinion, I think you got to say he's the GOAT. You got to say he's better than Floyd Mayweather. You got to consider that. Also think about this. Crawford was 38 years old in the ring. When Mayweather fought him, he fought him at 36 years old. So Crawford was older. He was the smaller man. Terence Crawford really jumped up 2, if you want to count 3, weight classes to beat the undisputed champion at 168. That's ridiculous. That's an amazing accomplishment. I think for me, like, I may not sound super excited because this is something I already saw coming. I already knew this was going to happen. But you had so many people saying the power of Canelo Alvarez. He's been in the ring with all these guys. Crawford ain't fought nobody, you know. He's going to get knocked out, you know. So many things we've heard throughout this fight, you know, in the build-up to why Canelo Alvarez is going to win this fight. I had dudes doing videos calling me a casual because I was picking Crawford to win the fight. And yes, I know I picked him to possibly stop Canelo Alvarez, but like I said, if he didn't stop him, he was going to win in dominant fashion. So I'm not expecting anybody to come on here and, you know, just admit that their opinion was wrong. I don't expect anybody to eat their crow. This was a complete dominant performance. Really, he whooped him every single round, dang near. I don't know what rounds you really can give Canelo in this fight. Maybe the first. You know, Max Kellerman was glazing Canelo this whole entire fight. The commentary sucked. He should have rode off into the sunset with HBO and just never came back to the sport of boxing. Andre Ward got on my nerves too. Like I already said, I dropped a video talking about the commentary crew, and they sucked just like I expected. But Kellerman gave Canelo the 5th round or whatever, so I guess you can give Canelo the 1st and the 5th round. Other than that, he didn't do anything the whole entire fight, in my opinion, right? But obviously the power of Canelo Alvarez didn't affect Crawford. He ate the punches fine. He fit right into the 168-pound division perfectly fine. He looked strong in there. He had punch resistance, able to take Canelo's best shots, which were few. The speed was there. Everything was there. Conditioning. Everything that the guys that were banking on Canelo winning this fight, how he was going to win it, you know, none of those things happened. The size didn't affect him. The weight didn't affect him. Canelo's power didn't affect him. So I think this just goes to show that people don't know the sport of boxing. But it also goes to show that Canelo Alvarez is possibly the most overrated fighter in the history of the sport. And I say that respectfully because you gotta give Canelo some props, because for what he's done. He's a 4-division champion. He was the undisputed champion at 168. Not anymore, but he was. And But to think that you're regarded as the greatest Mexican fighter, the bigger guy, the younger guy, you had an amazing training camp. You looked juiced up for this fight. At the weigh-ins, he looked in incredible shape. Brought in drawn boots Ennis into his camp. You know, Petty Reynoso said this is the best Canelo Alvarez has ever looked his entire career. So I just don't want to hear no excuses on why Canelo lost this fight. He just lost to the better fighter. And it just goes to show that nobody is on Terence Crawford's level. This is clearly the Terence Crawford era. He solidified that tonight by stepping up 2 more weight divisions to beat Canelo Alvarez. I don't think we're not going to really see anything like this, if ever, ever again. But hats off to Terence Crawford, for what he's done in the sport. If I'm Terence Crawford, I think I'm just going to hang it up. You end your career beating a Canelo Alvarez. There's no better way to do it. What he's done in the sport is, like I said, I don't know if it's ever going to get touched again. But, man, that was awesome. I was really happy to see that. I was a little worried that they were going to rob him, but regardless, he got the job done. And it was a great performance, man. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys thought about this fight. What do you think the Canelo excuses are going to be now? All we heard was Crawford isn't fought nobody. Everybody's a bum. Does this make Canelo Alvarez a bum? Let me know what you guys think. Hate, like, comment, subscribe.